All right, we are on Project 5, Space and Form Notes. To start, you're going to want to cut out all of the symbols under the space notes as well as the tricks to create space notes. So go ahead and pause me while you cut out all of those pieces. Please don't lose any, we're going to need them all. And unpause me when you're ready to go. Okay, so space is the area around within all objects in a work of art. There are two different types of space. We talk about positive and negative versus foreground, middle ground, background. We use positive and negative when your picture is really shallow. So like this example here of just the cats. There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of depth. There's not a lot of things in the space because it's a relatively simple image. We can say positive versus negative. Positive is always going to be inside the objects. So the subject of your work, that's the positive space. The stuff around your subject, that's the negative space. So on yours, because I have two pictures, you're noting the parts that are black. The cats themselves is going to be the positive side. And then the one where the background is shaded in, that's going to be your negative space. So go ahead and glue those two symbols down to your pictures. However, that only works if you have a very simple image. When you start doing things like landscapes, that doesn't really work. You can't really say, well, what is positive and what is negative? There's too many things. There's too much space there. So that's when we break it down to foreground, middle ground, and background. And that has to do with what is closest and farthest away from the viewer. So the stuff that is closest, that's going to be your foreground. So this section right here where I have the most detail, the most bright colors, you can't really see because it's black and white, but it would be the most bright colors, the most detail, that's going to be your foreground. Middle ground is going to be this midsection here that's not quite close to you, not quite far away. We're starting to lose details, but there's still some details there. You'll notice that this tree is included in the middle ground because like it grows out of the ground, so you judge it based on where the ground starts. It doesn't go back in space, it grows up. So that's part of the middle ground. And that means the very lightest part in the way, way back, the farthest thing where we lose lots of detail, things get lighter and faded out, that's the background. That tends to be about like where the horizon is and around your eye level. That's going to be the far background part of your artwork. Go ahead and glue your three labels down and then flip your page over to Tricks to Create Space when you are ready. Okay, so the first box says overlapping. That's just when you cover up one part of an artwork with another piece of artwork. So go ahead and take two of your gray rectangles and glue them into your overlapping box so that one covers a corner of another one. And then your size, you can actually have cut all three of those out together, but it's okay if you have them separately. Size is just things that are farther away from you are smaller, things that are closer to you are larger. So go ahead and paste your three gray rectangles that get larger into the size box. Another thing to note is detail. When things get far away, it's hard to see the details of stuff, but when they get closer to you, you can actually read words on them, you can see the fine details of them. So things like a stop sign really far away, the stop might almost disappear because your eyes can't perceive the tinier details. Last thing we have to glue is in the color box. Brighter, bolder colors are going to seem like they are closer. Gray, faded colors are going to seem like they are farther away, just like those mountains got faded in the background of our last one. The same thing here. For converging lines, you're going to start by drawing a horizontal horizon line, and then you're going to have lines that come together at one point. It's called one-point perspective. We are going to do some more stuff on that, but not today. So you can just kind of be like, yes, I know about one-point perspective. And then move on. We will go into detail later. So that is it for Tricks to Create Space. We now have to do form. So when you're ready, go ahead and hop over to the form page. You will have to cut out those three boxes and descriptions of what a form is. So go ahead and cut those out. Unpause me when you are ready to glue those down. Okay, so we have three different versions of form. A form is an object that has length, width, and height. It can be three-dimensional or two-dimensional. So if I have an actual soda can, it is a length, a width, and a height that I can measure in real space around me. If I have a picture of a soda can, it still has a length, width, and height. I'm just using illusions to show you that on a piece of paper. So the first one is the sphere here, which is made just by shading. So this is using how light hits an object to make it look like it's round and three-dimensional. So you're going to glue forms made with shading in the first box. The next one is this line drawings of these rectangles that are made into cubes in space. Those are made with the thing called perspective that I mentioned a minute ago. Again, we're going to get more in detail about how do you do that, how do you use it. It's an artistic technique that was created during the Renaissance, and I'm going to show you how to do it so you can make things even more realistic looking in your drawings. The final way, as you might have guessed, because there's only one more thing to glue, is forms made with shading and perspective. So you can combine the two techniques together to make your most realistic kind of drawings. And that is the notes for space and form.